Allie with Potomac Beads. Join me in making this Crystal Grotto's bracelet design. You can see it would be cool as a choker, as a bracelet, as well as the square stitch and ladder stitch that you're learning to create a number of different designs. Keep in mind, if you need any materials, check out the links below me in the description, gather them up, and let's get started. So to begin the crystal grottos, I have my crystals in a pattern. Now I have two different versions, the original version where I did my 5 crystals in a row and then my 1 gold 8 seed beads, or you can follow a smaller pattern like I'll be doing here in the video. I have on 3 of my faceted cylinders, and then I have on 5 of my 2x3 millimeter rondelles. I did cylinder, rondelle, cylinder, rondelle, cylinder, rondelle, cylinder. I've started out with 3 of the metallic green, then PC, rondelle, and alexandrite, then the metallic blue, then the metallic purple rondelle, alexandrite in the tube, and then the blue zircon in the rondelle. The green again repeated in the cylinder, the alexandrite again in the 2x3, and then metallic purple in the cylinder. Once you have those on, you're going to have an 8/0 between each one of those beads, and you are going to grab your 10 strand bar. So through the back of the bar and out towards the top. You will have on a size 10 beading needle also, and about 7 feet of beading thread. Take your thread and needle and go the whole way back down through that entire row of beads that you just had, all the way down to the stop bead. What that's going to do is attach this first row of beads to my first bar. You'll see a little bit of thread showing, connecting the two together, but it's going to connect that first 2 rows of thread. Over here on the other side, we'll string through the bar on the other side and get ready to do our second strand of beads. On the starter side now, I want to make sure, as my threads are both coming out through that last cylinder, to add an 8/0 so I don't forget to add one. And I'm going to sew through that first hole of the bar on the other side. From here, I'm going to take my thread and needle from the first hole to the second hole of the bar. It's going to expose some thread on the back section of that bar, and you'll just see that gap in thread going from the first to the second hole. That's why I'm using white thread. Here I'm going to repeat now this same exact line of seed beads. I'm going to start with my 8/0 seed bead, then my 3 green cylinders. In order to connect them together, I'm going to take another 8/0 and ladder stitch or square stitch this together, going through the 8/0 from the previous row, from the start side, going towards the side I'm coming from. I'm going to pull that tight, and then you're going to sew back through the 8/0 that you just put on, that your thread was originally coming out of, bringing that towards that start side again. You'll see the thread exit the 8, go through the 8 from the line below it, go back through the 8 and pull nice and tight to get them to sit right on top of one another. This is going to continue the whole length of the bracelet. I'll repeat with my 5 rondelles. Once the 5 rondelles are on, I'll do this one more time for you. Going and adding in an 8/0 seed bead right after. Doing my square stitch here, going into the bottom row below it into the 8/0 seed bead. Sewing then back through to continue on through the 8/0 that my thread was just coming out of. You're going to repeat that the whole way down this second line of beads, and then when we get to the other side, we're going to loop through and sew back down through the line again to get to the starter side. When you get to the end of row 2, you're going to come up through the back of that bar, and then again straight down the bar to the other side. When you get down to the other side, coming through the bar here, and you'll notice, just a side note quick, the first and the last row of seed beads, I am not doing that square stitch together. Once you get down to the starter side again, you're going to go through the back of the project, because your thread's coming out the top there. You're going to go through the back, down through the other side, and start again on your next row. This will continue then to build as you add in and do all of your color variants along those 10 rows of beads. Back at this starter side then, the thread is coming through the last 8-0, and remember the thread is coming out the top of the bar here, so I know I'm going to go into the back of the bar, which is going to center my strand to the middle of the design. Then I'm going to go over to the next hole, sewing down through the bar, and again starting over. So on this side you're always going to have thread. Every other hole is going to go through the front or through the back from hole 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4 will go to the back, 4 to 5 will go to the front, and so forth. Continuing on, gathering up and doing your square stitch, getting to the other side of the project, and then looping back down and continuing on. I have 8 more rows to go in this beautiful Crystal Grotto's design, and then we'll catch up. I'll show you how we're going to decorate the top of the bracelet as well as finish off the threads. If you have to add thread to your project, the best place to do it is right after one of the 8-0s before a light crystal. I have a new piece of thread that I'm tying around the old piece of thread. I also have a number of YouTube videos just showing how to add thread. I have the thread tied around that starter side right there, and I'm going to tie it and pull that knot tight. Push that knot down next to one of the 8-0 seed beads. Take the needle and keep it on that starter end, or that stopper end rather. Tie that thread once again. And now take this needle end and go through the next bead or so. That's going to pull and separate, so when I burn down the thread end, both knots are not in the same spot. I'll put a needle on the longer thread now, follow that course, and what I can do is, I generally don't do this till the end of the project, but I will burn this thread end down, off, burn a little bit down, and then burn it down nice and flush against the project. You want to make sure that when you're doing this, you are not burning any of the thread that is still being used. Again, continuing on then, doing our nice ladder stitch as we get our nice lines lined up with that color fun change. I also wanted to say, as I'm doing this here, I have 6 strands right now. If you want to do something that's shorter and you don't have a 6-strand bar, what you can do is ladder stitch at the end of the design. So when coming out the 8-0 seed bead, do that square stitch on, and do the square stitch on again for the next. Square stitch on, square stitch on. That way you do not need a bar like I'm using. You can then do some herringbone down, you can do some brick stitch down and end the bracelet that way. So if you want to make it less than 10 strands, go for it. More, go for it. And remember, you can use that square stitching technique or ladder stitch. Sometimes they're used interchangeable, and the words are used interchangeable. And you can create your own end piece as well. As you're coming out of the last of the beads here, I'm going to go up through the back, just like if I was getting ready to kind of go back on the project, and just secure in that last strand, making sure that it goes around the base of this multi-hold bar and coming out towards the front. I'm going to decorate this side of the bar, and then we'll come down the long end of the piece as well as decorate the exterior. I'm creating a top and a bottom of the pendant, which the bottom you'll see the thread going through. You can decorate both sides if you want, but we're going to add some 15-0 seed beads along the top. The 15-0s that I'm adding are the metallic dark plum iris, and that is in the Miyuki brand. I'm going to go ahead and add 4 of my 15s onto my needle. I'm going to skip over from hole number 1 to hole number 3 and sew through to the back. Bring your thread and needle out through that hole number 1, circling around. Sew back through those 4 seed beads. And after you sew back through the 4 seed beads, add 4 more. Once you get those 4 on, skip over from the hole that you're going through, which is the 3rd to the 4th and the 5th hole. Sew back through, going back 1, 2 holes and out. So back through those 4 seed beads. So we're still basically doing that same square stitch. Going through the 4 seed beads. And then adding 4 more to the line. Again, jump over and go to the second hole. Go back into that hole your thread was originally coming out of. Sew through those 4 seed beads that you just put on. And then again, add 4 more. So we're going to repeat this on both sides of the project, finishing out and decorating the end of the design. Again, if you want to, you could have actually used seed beads along the back as well. Coming out then here, I'll add those 4 in. And I only have 1 hole to jump over. I don't have 2 there at the end. I do have my starter thread there though, so we are going to knot that off. But I'm still going to do 4 beads. And go into that next hole. That kind of fills in any gaps that were presented at the start of it. You can see it gives a nice ending to it. Going back through here then, I'm going to go back through these last 4. Out through the back of that hole then. And at this chance, I get the nice opportunity to take off that stop bead here, going down through the 8-0, and tie off the starter thread onto this same thread here. Once you take off that stop bead, tie these thread ends together, take the thread that is still attached to the needle down through to the other side of the project. Once it's down through to the other side of the project, you're going to decorate it in the same fashion, adding the seed beads to the top of the bar on the opposite side. Once all your thread is burned down, you can attach your clasp, whether it's a toggle clasp or a lobster clasp or a push clasp, and you can see how cool the bracelet looks as it's on. It is a wide cuff, and I'll show here. I took off the rest of my jewelry so you could see it a little bit better, and I have that nice wide cuff in that a range of colors. Whether or not you're going to wear it in the color stripes, in the blocks, or the opposite way too, you can see how it has a nice variety on the wrist in the different designs. Keep in mind, for this Crystal Grotto's bracelet, you can do it, yes, with the different crystals in the blocks. You can do it with the stripes. You can do it with the 2x3mm bicone, switch it up. Remember, you don't need those bars at the end, but they add a cool feature and a cool look. Remember, if you need any materials, check out the links below me in the description to purchase from us online at PotomacBeads.com as well as .eu. Remember also to give a little thumbs up and comment below if you like the video, as well as any changes or design modifications or design ideas that you have. Also remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel to get regular updates from us here at Potomac Beads. Thanks so much for watching and enjoy your blingy Crystal Grotto's bracelet.